Welcome back to another episode of Point .08 Debates. I have my co-host back with me. Shout out to Colombian. Before we get started, he's going to go ahead and pour us a shout out right quick. Today's topic is, should blank be in the NFL Hall of Fame? Now, who that player is, I'm not 100% sure. Thank you for pouring me a half shot too. Who that player is, I'm not 100% sure who you have in mind. He's going to rack off a list. One or two of these players I know for sure. Then I'm going to throw one or two players back at him before we finish. I have the laptop in front of me just so if there's a discrepancy, we can look up stats, we can look up longevity, we can look up accolades if need be. So we're going to go ahead and start us off, you know what I'm saying, with the shot before we get into the first name.
He .04 debates since he won't take half that.
Boy, you stupid. All right, go ahead. First name. So
Eli Manning.
So here's my thing. Are you telling me he should be on the list, or are you saying this is a conversation that needs to be had?
It's a conversation that needs to be had. Honestly, if you ask me, it's a conversation that doesn't need to be had. But
because he's what?
Been carried by a defense for 2 championships.
That ain't the argument. So we're not gonna get into the criteria of what makes you a Hall of Famer. We're basing this off of other players that are already in the Hall of Fame, on top of what you've done in today's league. So here's my question. You made the statement.
Mm-hmm.
Is he not a Hall of Famer?
No.
So I want y'all to understand something again, because we're about narrative here. So you're telling me that Eli Manning, 5 years after he retires, he's not a Hall of Famer. Just yes or no? 5 years after he retires, he's not a Hall of Famer?
No.
15 years after he retires, he's not a Hall of Famer?
No.
Eli Manning turns 98, he passes away 20 years after he dies. He's not a Hall of Famer?
Maybe. Out of pity.
Out of pity, they might live.
Out of pity.
Out of pity. Okay, so here's my thing. I absolutely am disgusted by the quarterback that is Eli Manning. But I love him. This is why. Eli Manning is the example of you can be garbage and still win. Not only can you be garbage and still win, you can be garbage and win twice. Against a man that has done it 6 times? Okay, so again, if we're going to have this conversation, let's be realistic. If I'm on the panel, if I am one of the 48 members that get to elect, not select, they elect, the Hall of Fame. When we're looking at that list, there's somewhere around 100 people, and we got to cut it down to 25. Eli Manning is on my list. And when we get to that 25, the second day they got to cut it down to 15.
That's what they.
If it's 5 years removed, I need to see who else on the list, because most likely he's one of my 15. But then when you start to cut it down, the election Saturday is what they call it. You go from 15 to 10, and on that same day you go from 10 to 5. Then I don't know, but I'm sorry. I need to see the rest of the list, because here's the thing. There's gonna be. This is why I say it's kind of hard not to put him on there. Everybody's gonna go to one thing and one thing only when we start talking about Eli Manning. Super Bowls. He got 2 Super Bowls. Just what you said. He was carried by a run game. He was carried by a defense.
Mm-hmm.
He had, Tom Coughlin was scrutinized a lot. He's still a good coach, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind, how weak will the ballot be on some of those years?
Yeah.
So you say 15 years in, no, but I mean, if they got me, you, and Chewy and Amani on the list, Eli Manning's a shoe-in.
I mean, here's the thing. Come on, man. So here's the thing. As a Cowboys fan, obviously the Giants are a hated team for me. That's fine. I don't let that cloud my judgment. If you're good, you're good. I love Saquon. I think he's great. I hate that he went there, because I like seeing him ball. So I'm not gonna let fandom get in the way of things. At the end of the day, I can't sit here and call Eli Manning trash.
You say you can't?
No, at the tail end of his career, he's definitely just garbage. Just like
What was he at the beginning of his career?
At the beginning of his career, he was clutch. He would make. I mean, he wasn't surgical to the point of his brother, where he had kept his interceptions low and kept his touchdowns high and putting up those type of numbers. He's not his brother. I'm not giving him that at all. But at the beginning of his career, he's not the same guy. So we can't say that.
You're right, because at the beginning of his career, he was garbage with an exception. Oh, he's young. At the end of his career, he just garbage.
Well, when I say the beginning, obviously, everybody has a you can't really grade. You're not even supposed to grade a draft class for 5 years. So I don't really start grading a quarterback until about year 3.
Okay.
That's when I start grading a quarterback. Year 1, year 2. If they can start balling out like that, then great. But at the same time, if they're trash, I'm not holding that to a QB. But at the same time, if they're showing some good things, I'm not holding that to a QB because we've seen RG3 come in. I remember, I'll never forget. I was at the stadium for one of the Thanksgiving game where by halftime we were already losing by like 30 points, and I thought to myself, man, we're gonna have to play against this guy for the next at least 15 years. And look now. And a lot of that, is injuries, but that type of play wasn't going for a long time.
So real quick, y'all can already tell, off the Eli Manning situation, we don't think the same, which is fine. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, before RG3 was drafted, when he was in talks of winning the Heisman, I told people that he was garbage then. Understand something? You can play the position according to what's on the field. A lot of people are situational, some even generational. A lot of people are situational. That's Eli Manning. That's RG3. So here's a quick question. Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with anything you said except for the watching RG3 on Thanksgiving Day. We have to play him in the future. You know what I'm saying? But so just without deviating too far, Eli Manning. You say obviously he's not first ballot.
Here's the thing about Eli Manning. The best thing that I can commend Eli Manning on, the best and really only thing that I could commend Eli Manning on, is the fact that he is durable and available for every single game. The only time he's missed a game.
What is the best ability?
Availability. And as a Tony Romo fan, as a Sean Lee fan, many different people. I mean, even a Le'Veon Bell, someone that's not on my team, but I love seeing him play every year, whether it's some type of marijuana suspension or a few 4 or 5 games here for some type of injury, he's always off the field. The best ability is availability, and that's honestly, to me, Eli Manning's best trait. That's it. Around the time when they won the Super Bowls, I can't say he was garbage. He wasn't Tim Couch or he wasn't, anything like that. But he wasn't the reason why they won those Super Bowls. And if you took those Super Bowls away, so I think we have to. Here's the thing. I think we do.
Go with that.
No. Yeah, no. If we took the Super Bowls away, it would be no question. Okay. So with that being said, I think we do have to put a slight pause on Eli, and we do kind of have to talk what we think, because we have to put some context to this. Mm-hmm. What is your criteria? What do you take into account when you're discussing not just Eli but any player?
No, I got you. That's what I'm saying. We're not gonna go that in depth yet. Mm-hmm. We're gonna hit other players. That'll be a whole nother episode. So we're gonna hit other players first. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing.
But to keep it short,
facts.
Eli Manning is a no for me, dog. I'm gonna do a Randy Jackson.
That's
fine. No for me, dog.
That's a straight up no. So Eli Manning, I'm sorry, baby. Today is not your day. You did not and will not make
15 years either. Look, maybe when he dies, he's one of them guys that make it in. Like, hey, listen, it's been a slow year. We're gonna
Eli, you did not and will not make the Hall of Fame as of today. So next player on the list.
For me?
Yeah, you had at least 2 more.
Yeah, I got 2 more. So the next one.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you one.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one that's already in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. But the discussion is going to change just slightly. Should Terrell Owens have waited as long as he did to make the Hall of Fame?
So here's the thing. We've had this discussion before. I remember this exact discussion.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we've had this exact discussion. And should he have waited? Probably not. If you take everything into a vacuum, I always like to say, Madden or 2K, if you just turn on the game, play the game, cut it off, there's no off field or off anything, you're just playing the game and they give you the talents. Absolutely. T.O. did everything and then some that he had to do. However, we have a situation with T.O. that we know how he behaved himself off the field. And so here's the thing. You can't behave any way that you want to behave and then get mad at someone because they won't let you into their club. Because they're going to have standards for their own club. So you can't get mad at that.
And here's my question, though. what is the standards? Because the standards never said you had to be an upstanding citizen on and off the field.
Well, what are the standards? The standards that there really are no standards.
That's my point. So here's
There
the
are no
thing. So here's the thing. You started with what you started with your opinion according to the standards. Because there are none, you said it should not have taken as long for him to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So,
Well, as far as just stats, like I said, in a vacuum, player only. We're talking about player. We're not talking about the moment. The moment they step on the field or on the court. Whether in this case we're talking NFL, but the moment they step on the field for the game, we're not talking about practice. If they miss OTAs, we're not talking about contract holdouts or negotiations. We're talking about you stepped on that field Sunday, Mondays, and Thursdays. And you balled out, you put up the stats, you won or didn't win the Super Bowls, or you won multiple, or you went to a few and only won one, and whatever it is, that's a vacuum to me. And just based off that vacuum, T.O. is hands down a first ballot Hall of Famer. The minute at 5 years and 1 minute, he should have been it. But again, that's not how it works. Perception is reality. And T.O. is honestly,
So
T.O. never really did anything egregious. He off the field, he was just a diva. He never did no crazy stuff. He almost overdosed.
If we doing that,
but he ain't never slapped nobody. He ain't never hit his woman. He ain't never hit his kid.
That's why I asked, because here's the thing: if somebody else gets to paint the narrative of the man that I am, and when I rebuttal that with how I actually am, and it's not taken into consideration, it's no longer fair. So. This is why I say that. Is because, there were teammates, there were media members and this and that said that he was doing something wrong. But when he got to tell his own story, he gave names. He quoted people verbatim. He had, people stand up to, and say, okay, well, no, he wasn't the guy that y'all depicted. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess where I'm going with that is, if you're going to say no and you got a whole team behind you, and I say yes, and I got a whole team behind me, where's the end point?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that a lot of the stuff that happened with T.O. was based off teammates or anything that was said from by anyone.
So what was his downfall as far as
for instance, if OBJ keeps the same track of his career going forward, right? He will have.
He won't make the Hall of Fame.
He will have Hall of Fame numbers. No. Yes, he will. If he keeps the same track.
Wait. You have to stay healthy. You have to be in the playoffs. He's played in how many playoff games? He's played how many full seasons? So understand.
Some of these things are fluid, man. Some of these things are fluid. If you play for the Browns and you putting up, now we got some new age Browns coming in. We get to see if they're going to do some different things. If you're playing, for instance, look at AJ Green. AJ Green, if he continues his career, arguably he is going to be a Hall of Fame candidate that you have to take seriously. How many playoff games has he won?
Exactly, and he has had issues staying healthy. But here's my point.
But he's put up the numbers.
That's my point. He has put up consistent numbers.
OBJ has too.
OBJ has put up consistent numbers the games that he was on the field.
Absolutely.
Here's my question.
And like availability is the best ability.
No, you just transitioned to a very good point. He's playing now with another receiver that averages 100 catches, receptions, and Landry.
OBJ. I didn't know if we were talking about AJ Green or OBJ.
OBJ is now playing with another receiver who averages 100 receptions a season.
Only one ball to go around.
Exactly. Not to mention a very young, talented tight end with a young, mobile quarterback.
And Chubb.
And a team that loves to Chubb. He gets his fair share of passes as well as ground runs out of the backfield. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. We've deviated just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I like the example of OBJ, but again, like I say, I've seen OBJ kick a net on the sideline.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
I've seen him. I've seen him. I feel like the whole boat thing was before the playoff game was blown out of proportion, but you know what I'm saying? I've seen him do that and then have a poor performance in the playoff game. And then tell everybody it had nothing to do with it. You see what I'm saying? So on and so forth.
Yep.
With Terrell Owens,
I believe it had nothing to do with it.
Well, I for the most part, I do not agree with. I do not agree with.
Used to do cocaine before games.
And again,
they used to go to strip clubs the night before a game, and there just wasn't a Twitter back then.
I agree, boy. But when Michael Irvin lost that defense, how many playoff games did they win? How many Super Bowls did they go to?
That's a great point you're making, which is why just because a player doesn't make the playoffs or win Super Bowls doesn't necessarily mean that they should not be in the party.
Facts. Facts.
Because everything is. You have to look at. You can't just look at
everything
zoomed
plays
in.
a factor.
You got to look at the whole thing.
So let's go through the T.O. situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, San Francisco. He said and did some things that he should not have.
Absolutely.
The whole I'm going home. Y'all gonna get me doing sit-ups and
exactly. Yep.
It's extra.
It's the next situation. That's why I brought up OBJ.
No, that's why I said
it's the extra stuff that has nothing to do with catching the ball.
I got you. Since then, the rest was he say, she say. The rest was, Hugh Douglas and him got into it in the locker room. The rest was, Donovan McNabb had some stuff to say about T.O. Donovan McNabb having meetings with the offense. Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid having meetings with the offense excluding T.O. The same was said about Jason Witten.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing was said about Tony Romo and Jason Witten.
You see what I'm saying? So all I know is at the end of the day, the man, for the most part, bro, again, we talking about a man that got injured and balled out in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? One of the best performances
there was actually,
I've lived to see by a receiver in the Super Bowl.
Roy Williams, they started a rule because of that. Because Roy Williams started, the horse collar came from Roy Williams because Roy Williams used to be able to hit.
So here's my
But now he can't.
So here's my thing.
Well, now.
The year after that, he couldn't.
Yeah.
So here's my thing with, and again, you know what I'm saying, we sticking with the T.O. We deviated. There are some things to go in favor of the Odell, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the media has not been kind to him either, you know what I'm saying? But with Terrell Owens, I'll give you the San Francisco situation. After that, it was a lot of, I've been hearing. You see what I'm saying? When he finally gave his story, it was more of, all I wanted to do was win.
Right.
I said these things, I did these things, but it wasn't like what they depict, you know what I'm saying?
And that's fine. And I this will be my last thing on T.O.
Go ahead.
Like I said, was he deserving at 5? At 5?
You've already said, yeah. Go ahead, finish your point.
So, basically,
I'm done.
With T.O., these are athletes that get paid millions of dollars to catch a leather ball, right? You and I, we have corporate type jobs, right? Most of the people out there are watching have corporate type jobs, and something that you have to realize, if you have not realized it by now, you have to play the political game when it comes to working it. If you're not your own boss, you have to play a political game. There's politics involved. T.O., people like OBJ, people like Chad Johnson, people like those flashy types, that's fine. And that's fine when you can still catch that ball. When you start deteriorating, because Father Times are defeated, then things, no one cares whether you're wearing all these gold grills and bringing a Hall of Fame jacket. I'm talking about Chad Johnson at this point, doing all that when you putting up numbers.
Yeah.
But when you start losing a step, those things start becoming more of a distraction instead of part of the show. So with that being said, they did not know how to play the office politics. They did not know how to climb up in the ranks of their job. It's no different. It's still their job. So now you can't cry when, for instance, if you or I show up late to work every day, if you or I come and we don't come dressed properly to work, if you and I come in, but however, we're still good performers at our job, right? Facts. So our numbers and our metrics that we have to meet for our job are great. However, man, I don't know if we can promote Stiggs because, man, he's great at what he does, but he comes in wrinkled every single day. I don't know if I could promote Columbia because
it's funny because I go to work
because he's great at what he does. However, he doesn't know how to properly talk to people. If he had to conduct a meeting, he wouldn't be able to do it. So that can happen, and that's essentially what happened with him. You create a glass ceiling for yourself.
So here's my thing. I love the end, how you ended with T.O. and I love how you began because you didn't say no, he didn't deserve the Hall of Fame.
No, he absolutely deserved it.
You said according to what the man did on the field, the numbers that he put up. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he deserved the Hall of Fame. So here's my question. His last year in San Francisco, I'll tell you what, 1, 2, 3, 4. His last 4 years in San Francisco, the man averaged a little over 1,300 yards. No, I'm sorry, a little under 1,300 yards. His last, he played one.
So about, if my math is right, about almost like 80 yards a game, 80-ish, kind of.
We're gonna say yeah. Oh, I tell you what.
There's 16 games in the season.
We're not doing that. I'm just saying. So yeah, a little over 80. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, a little over 80. Actually, something closer to 90. 90 yards a game. Okay. So here's the thing. With Dallas, 1,100, 1,400, a little over 1,000. touchdowns, I mean, it's pretty much the same. 13, 15, 10. And then with San Francisco, 13, 16, 13, you know what I'm saying? So here's my thing.
And he balled out with the Eagles, too.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, I'm just giving his most notable. Obviously, no one's going to forget Philly. He went to the Super Bowl with them. You know, his first year with
They
Philly.
lost.
his first year with, yes, cool. And his first year with Philly was, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. All I'm saying is, for a man of this caliber, you look up stats for a receiver, whether it's career, not so much game, but for some game stats, he's falling top 3. So
absolutely.
I'm not excusing the antics. All I'm saying is, for a guy like T.O., for me, it was no question. Even if I believed everything that was ever said about him negatively, if I'm one of those 48, he's making it first ballot.
Absolutely, and I know I said that was my last thing about T.O., but I'm going to add this. I don't think there was ever a scare that T.O. would be blackballed and never make it. Like, he wasn't going to get Pete Rose, you know. Pete Rose should, you know, anybody that follows baseball, he gambled on his sport, so he kind of got blackballed and banned and all that. And he'll never make, you know, and he probably should, but here's the thing. I don't think there was ever a situation of, damn, they're really not going to let T.O. in. It was just more of a, you want to act like that?
Yeah.
Sit down. You in timeout, essentially. They put him in timeout. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I think that's the thing, and that's why I'm okay with it, because there was never a thought in my mind, bro, they're really not gonna let T.O. in. It was just they're gonna make him wait. How long did he wait, by the way? Was it like 3 years?
I know he missed it the first 2. He might have missed it 3 consecutive years,
and then made it on his 4th. Okay.
He might have made it.
Yeah, I think it was more like a punishment.
He finished in. He had to wait 5 years. So he finished in 2010. 2015
was when he would
have been then. No, hold on. 2016.
16, yeah.
He would have been eligible. So, and he just made it this past
last year.
So he missed it 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So it sounds egregious just because we know he should have made it minute 1, but what they did was told him, hey, sit down a little bit. Since you wanted to act like that, we're going to let you in when we want to let you in.
Yeah, and if we're incorrect on that math, I'm not mistaken. I know it was just this past year, but I'm saying I'm not 100% sure off the top of the head. I'm just looking, like I said, his last year was incident. Shout out to T.O., by the way. One of my favorite players of all time.
Oh, me too. Even when he was at the Eagles, which I hate the Eagles. For that first year, I was like, damn, we're going to have to deal with this.
Well, this is what I want to end with on him. Before we transition, you know what I'm saying? You've heard both our opinions, but I remember, you know, he had a 200-yard game with the Cowboys. Then with Buffalo and Cincinnati, he had like a 199-yard game and a 198-yard game. Mind you, one of those teams he was playing with Chad Johnson. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I agree with what you said about the Father Time situation, because obviously his stats did diminish. You know what I'm saying?
But even his diminished stats were still good, because his regular stats were so high that even his diminished stats were still... His diminished
stats were, oh, hey, I'm a superstar, but I got injured for like 2 or 3 games.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Type deal. So shout out to T.O. Before we get into the next player, you know what I'm saying? I wanna see something real quick. So, are you drunk yet?